Good evening, insiders. We are live on YouTube and breaking news. Prince Andrew has now officially been stripped, and not in that way because that would be revolting. So, if you are just joining, he has been dislodged at last. Andrew stripped of Prince title and is forced to quit Royal Lodge after being served notice following row with Charles. Now, I have my own insights and my expertise as to what exactly is going on. Because if you're new to this channel, I spent 20 years working in mainstream media in PR, and I've written for national media outlets. I've placed thousands of articles in them, and I want to tell you, hey guys, what is going on? So you will remember that we had a statement from Prince Andrew, who we won't call Prince Andrew anymore. Let's just that for the last time. Right. Andrew. Andy, what would really annoy him? Because we know his ego loves all of the pompous stuff. Old Andy Pandy, right? Andy Pandy put a statement out on the 17th of October. And that statement said, I have decided, as I always have, questionable, to put my duty to my family and country first. Again, questionable. I stand by my decision 5 years ago to stand back from public life. With His Majesty's agreement, we feel I must now go a step further. I will therefore no longer use my title or the honours which have been conferred upon me. Now, insiders, you will remember I did. I was just at dinner, my first night out in about 6 months. And of course, this bloody news broke then, didn't it? So I got back and I thought I'd jump on, just spoke to Dan Whitten. But this has not come about because this is what King Charles wants to do. And this has not come about because this is what Andrew wants to do. This has come about because of you guys, because of us, because of real people who demand change, who are advocating for vulnerable women who are alleged to have been taken advantage of, like Virginia Giuffre. So I only have water here, but if you have a cup of tea or a glass, I would like you to raise this because this is for the people that can't speak, like Virginia Giuffre, who have been gaslit, who have been bullied, who have been manipulated by the mainstream media, the women that people have not listened to and have made a mockery and a joke of. And we will not stand for that. And we will continue to use our voices. So, Charles has not done this. This is William, and you will know if you have watched my videos, I have been very consistent and I have clearly told you this is a very weak reign for Charles. Charles is out of his depth, and William is a man of the people. And there is a smear campaign going on by the left and by who knows? I mean, it could be people that know Andrew. I don't know. But we are seeing people go, oh, the monarchy should end. No, it shouldn't. And give William a chance, is what anyone with a brain cell thinks. And he will do a good job because this is exactly what we're seeing now. William has taken the reins behind the scenes because all we need to do to confirm that very thought is look at the statement that Andrew released on the 17th of October. So, for anyone new joining us, the statement that Andrew released on the 17th of October has so many clues in that people are missing. I have decided, as I always have, to put my duty to my family and country first. I stand by my decision 5 years ago to stand back from public life. With His Majesty's agreement, we feel I must now go a step further. I will therefore no longer use my title or the honours which have been conferred upon me. Nothing has changed, has it? Since that statement, nothing's changed. We knew he was a grifty liar. We knew about the Epstein emails. No new news has come out since then. What has changed is public outcry. And we are furious, and quite rightly so. Now, We know this isn't Charles because we've just heard in the statement on the 17th of October that Andrew had conferred and made that decision to not use those titles. I would like to bring your attention to the fact that I just checked the royal website and the grifty little beep's still on there. I couldn't believe it. And he's still listed there as Prince Andrew. And he's listed Prince Andrew, and it goes into a silly bio about him, which is obviously incredibly short. And it's still got the pictures from Picture Palace. So I think we can all be in agreement that someone at the palace, probably multiple people, need to be fired with immediate effect because this is shoddy, okay? And this shouldn't be happening. But let's go back to William. William is seeing exactly what's happening. And if you are joining from the Commonwealth, hello, I hope the weather's better for you than it is here, or if you're joining from anywhere else in the world, as things stand in England at the moment, life is not good. We are on the verge of civil war, literally. And I don't say that lightly. You know, I'm not dramatic, insiders, but it is not very good here at all. And Andrew Loney's book has also blown the doors off of everything that has been going on with Prince Andrew and Sarah. And so now we have gone from having Queen Elizabeth, who was always sturdy, reliable, consistent, trustworthy, to a monarch who is sadly not living up to anything that we hoped for. And I know I always get some people that go, that's not what I think. Well, it is what most people think, to be honest, because if King Charles was a strong king, we wouldn't have got into this position with Andrew. He would have lost his titles long ago. And that is irrelevant of whether King Charles is or isn't battling cancer. You know, you can still make good decisions several years ago. So we can deal with that. That is that. Now, if you've got any questions, drop them into the chat. I'm just going to see if I can pull any questions over from X as well. But make no mistake, this has not come from King Charles, in my opinion, because the clues, the digital footprint, everything that we can look at calmly, chronologically, and with expert insight that I can bring you, this is not Charles. So I personally am really happy to see that William is taking the reins behind the scenes. I think he's done numerous things recently that have given really clear signs because we know that Prince William can't come out and speak almost. He can't, you know, there is that hierarchy, there is that pyramid, which we always talk about. And he understands that because of the formalities and being in the line of succession, he cannot be seen publicly to overrule the king. However, this is William's doing, and this is bloody brilliant. I'm so happy about this. And for any of the lefties that are going in hard on William and Catherine, shut up. I know they're not on this stream, but I just wanted to vent it because when I did Dan Wootton's show earlier today, we were looking at some of the media coverage from lefty outlets, and it's just gross. You know, without the monarchy, this country would be absolutely in ruins. So this is a very rocky patch, and William does have some huge changes to make without question. But we are seeing all the signs that he will do that. And so let's recap on some of the signs. We had the Apple TV interview. That was a brilliant move because what it was saying without saying it is, I'm not playing this mainstream media BS game. I'm not doing the whole royal rota. I am not playing these sick games with media that have gone for my wife, that have dragged my wife's name through the mud, that have written clickbait articles whilst my wife has been recovering from cancer and chemotherapy that are about her hair in not nice ways. No. And so what William did was he did the interview in a pub over a pint, you know, and that's what it's a very British thing to do. And we actually saw a side to William where it wasn't in a formal capacity and he was just chatting. And that was brilliant because it showed us forget the royal rota. I am not doing just the ceremonial side. I am actually a man of the people. And that is reinforced by the very way that William actually lives his life, because he spends a huge amount of time with the Middletons, and they are a very down to earth family, considering the wealth that Pippa Middleton has married into with Spencer Matthews' brother. And Carol and Mike are also, very wealthy in their own right. And I've seen them, I live not too far from them, and I've seen them about, and they are genuinely a very normal family. They go to the same place I go to get my Christmas tree. So I might see them again there this year. I don't know. But William has chosen to have a normal life, to give his children a very normal upbringing. He spoke about that in the interview, and he spoke about the children trampolining and not having phones. And whilst he's talking to us, and we're coming on to Harry, don't worry, I know everyone wants to hear what I think of that. But whilst he is talking about real parent struggles, about I don't want my children having phones. We want to talk at the dinner table, and they want to go on the trampoline, and all of these things. I remember thinking, oh, I feel seen as a mum. Like, this is, you want your children being outside on the trampoline, and, we all wrestle with our children over the phones and Peppa Pig or whatnot. But then you have Harry on the other side, who is, I would argue, got a little bit of a cash injection from people that are on more of the democratic side, and is now preaching to us all about social media and the damages of it. And he said, I found a quote, I can't, because I'm live, I can't do all the system of sharing pictures. But he said recently that he thinks, people should have phones from 21 for social media. Let's not forget that when he was 21, he was bedding a 34-year-old, and also he had gone to a bad hang on, what's the exact wording of it? A bad taste fancy dress party, dressed as, and I don't even want to say the word because it's so awful, but it begins with N, it has an A, then it has a Z, and then it has an I, and it is repulsive. So, on the question of will Harry and Meghan lose their titles eventually at the right time, when Prince William officially takes over, because I believe Prince William is working around the clock behind the scenes, I would be very, very worried if I was Harry and Meghan, because William, he doesn't want all of these people that are trading off their royal titles. And we see with Beatrice and Eugenie, they say, we're just going to a launch for our daddy in the UAE, but we're only unofficially going there. We're not officially going there. And like I say, it's your face and you're a princess. So you can't unofficially go somewhere as a princess. When you're a princess, when you go somewhere, that's sorry, so cross. I just flung my foundation over. Anyhow, I don't think Beatrice and Eugenie add anything, so they can go. We've got rid of Sarah and we've got rid of Andrew. Next, okay, we've done it, members of the public and the Commonwealth and people on the ground around the world. Next is Harry and Meghan, and they absolutely have to go, because the minute these titles are taken, forget those corporate talking gigs. No one cares. And forget the networking, Forbes, and these summits. No one cares, because I did a video today, and if you haven't watched it, do watch it. It is about all of Harry and Meghan's lies. And I've gone through methodically and calmly. And because sometimes I feel like YouTube can be a bit hysterical, but I went through and I debunked them piece by piece. And it is all smoke and mirrors with Harry and Meghan, in my professional opinion. And it's very easy for me to see, because in my old profession, I was the person that was spinning those narratives and stories for people like, well, no, I never did anyone as bad as Harry and Meghan. I mean, someone nearly as bad, but no, that would have been awful. So this is a facade that is built through spin, PR, and ultimately deception and lies, because it's not true. So I'm going to see, are there any questions in the chat? So nice for everyone to be here. Do drop a like as well if you can. I don't know how these lives work. I'm not up to date on this side of it. Okay, Sarah B. Can I put you on screen? Oh, hang on. No. Okay. Right. I can't put you on screen, but I'll read your question. Says, now is the time to keep the pressure on for Harry and Meghan to be stripped of their bargain basement titles. Keep on going. Sarah B, you sound like my type of person. And I do agree with you because the monarchy needs to be preserved and it needs to be nurtured. And there has been some awful damage done to it by Andrew, by Sarah, by Meghan, and by Harry. And I have always said, I think William is going to strip it right back. And that is the right thing to do. This is where we need to be with the monarchy because the problem is we had Meghan come over from I don't even want to say, a movie background because she was not a great actress and she was in Suits, not a movie actress. Anyway, let's just say, what was that show she did with the Deal or No Deal? Let's say a Deal or No Deal girl. So she came over and she thought she could call the shots because when you are used to working in the entertainment business, you will approve the interviews, you will approve this, you will approve that, you will have, a lot of control. And when you come into a royal family, there is a hierarchy, and this is why it's never worked for them. And I would also um, reiterate that they or the palace, I believe, heavily created a construct of who Harry is. And I've spoken to people within the palace who have confirmed that. And I very, very rarely bring source quotes or source bits to the table because truly I can give you the lowdown on exactly what's in the public and decode it like that. But occasionally I will, if I have a contact in the right place, I will call them and say, this is what I believe, is this right? And they will say, yeah, spot on, because I do know what I'm talking about. And that's why I'm glad I can bring you these expert insights because there is not one other PR on YouTube, I believe, that can give you the inside scoop on exactly what's happening. So Margaret Addy has said Prince William needs to clean the house, go back to decent people who help our nation. Yes, I do think with William, he's definitely listening to the public because we know that nothing has changed between the 17th of October when Andy Pandy issued that statement. So this is definitely, the public and they are listening. And this is why, some people message me and they say we feel so infuriated, not with the royals, but just with politics and not being listened to. And this is a really amazing time because now we are being listened to. We the people matter. And it is not the 1% that are dominating the 99 percenters. We have a voice, we have a platform, and we are using it, and we are creating real change. And I am sure that this brings some form of peace for Virginia Giuffre's brother. I believe it is because I know obviously within the book there's some awful allegations regarding her family, but I believe it's her brother and her sister-in-law that are speaking to people regarding her and that they were in close contact. Hamilton says, has Lady C released a statement? Yeah. Do you know what my mum said? I just took my mum out for dinner and she went, did you see Lady C was in hospital? I said, I'm not saying anything, mum. My mum said, God works in mysterious ways. I said, Mum, that's not very nice. But I do wish Lady C a speedy recovery. It sounds very painful. But let's have a look. Just going through questions. Yeah. So Lauren Reen says, has the palace said why Andy's titles were taken? Well, insiders, hold the line. I'm going to read you the statement. So I don't know if anyone else is going to do this, but tonight I'm going to go down the rabbit hole and watch old Princess Diana videos as well. Just feeling like she gave so many clues to us about what was going to happen. So here we go. I'm going to read you an article. So this is live on The Sun, and they're all being updated in real time. So you are getting the closest possible news here. So, disgraced Andrew is no longer a prince and has lost his home in a brutal yet swift decision by King Charles. Well, it's not brutal, and it was by William anyway. In a shock statement, Buckingham Palace revealed after weeks of talks, the King's brother has finally given up life in his 31-room mansion Royal Lodge. And in a royal family bombshell, they say Prince Andrew will now be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Oh, get ready, Harry, you're next. It doesn't say that, guys. That's just me ad-libbing. The ex-duke and former prince has finally been brought to his knees by the disgraceful scandal surrounding PDF Jeffrey Epstein and Beep abuse survivor and accuser Virginia Giuffre. King Charles 76 brought down the axe yesterday, starting the formal process of removing the style, titles, and honours of Prince Andrew after a febrile few weeks. After enormous pressure going back years, the shamed royal Andrew is finally leaving Royal Lodge and made formal notice that he wishes to hand back his lease that was meant to run until 2078. The shamed royal will now move to the Sandringham estate, while ex-wife Sarah Ferguson, 66, is said to be making her own housing arrangements. You can just see her. Hello, I spent $4 million from Epstein. I don't know where to go. We don't care. In a bombshell statement issued to the world at 7 p.m., Buckingham Palace said His Majesty has today initiated a formal process to remove the style, titles, and honours of Prince Andrew. They added, Prince Andrew will now be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, and said his lease on Royal Lodge has to date provided him with legal protection to continue in residence. Formal notice has now been served to surrender the lease, and he will move to alternative private accommodation. These censures are deemed necessary, notwithstanding the fact that he continues to deny the allegations against him. Okay, right, insiders. Here we go. There was an argument from a lot of people that said, this was before this happened, Andrew can't move out the lodge. He's got a lease. It's ironclad. Now, I always said, you can go through my videos, I always said, King Charles wants him out. He can get him out. So now what we're realizing is you could have done this earlier, Charles, couldn't you? But you didn't, because this is William, and William is stepping in because he wants a clean slate. And sadly, William's name is being dragged into this by Andrew and Sarah, allegedly. Let's see what else the piece says. Hinting Queen Camilla was also involved, the palace said, Their Majesties wish to make it clear that their thoughts and utmost sympathies have been and will remain with the victims and survivors of any and all forms of abuse. Now, this is really interesting because whilst I don't think Camilla was involved in it, Camilla is also a fierce and vocal advocate against domestic violence. And those are charities that are very close to her heart and that she has supported, and I don't feel that they are performative. Sometimes you do get people within the public eye that pick charities and they aren't necessarily authentic. I don't feel that with Camilla at all. So then the piece says, the shock removal process axes Andy's titles, Prince, Duke of York, Earl of Inverness, Barrel Killilea, and the style, His Royal Highness. He also loses his Order of the Garter and Knight Grand Cross of the Victorian Order. And then we go down. Daughters Prince Beatrice and HRH Princess Eugenie retain their titles in line with King George V's letters patent on 1917. Virginia Giuffre's brother has released a statement following the news of Andrew's eviction. Here we go, folks. Right. Today, an ordinary American girl from an ordinary American family brought down a British prince with her truth and extraordinary courage, said her brother Skye and sister-in-law Amanda. Virginia Roberts Giuffre, our sister, a child when she was assaulted by Andrew, never stopped fighting for accountability for what had happened to her and to countless other survivors like her. Today, she declares victory. We, her family, along with her survivor sisters, continue Virginia's battle, and we will not rest until the same accountability applies to all of the abusers connected to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Prince Andrew, and then, sorry, that's where the quote ends. And then it goes on to say, Prince Andrew continues to deny allegations of abuse by Virginia Giuffre, who took her own life in April. I don't believe that. He paid out an estimated 12 million in an out-of-court settlement in February 2022. But despite Andy's denials, it is understood the actions taken by the king are as a result of his brother's serious lapses of judgment. It comes after The Sun on Sunday revealed emails showed he had lied in his car crash Newsnight interview in 2019. So again, the mainstream media are peddling this whole narrative. It's from King Charles. I consistently have said all along, this is William, and I stand by that. This is not the behavior, or this is not the actions. This is not the iron fist from King Charles, because nothing has changed since the 17th of October. So before I go, guys, I'm going to take a couple of questions, drop them in. Sussex Seagull, do you think Starmer is listening? Oh, I think Sussex Seagull might be a Sussex squaddy. I'm not sure. If you're not, apologies, Sussex Seagull. I'm not sure. I've had them come for me recently. Okay. Maureen Ball. Andrew M. Windsor has repeatedly poked the bear, and now something at long last has been done about it. Virginia and the financial dodgers, both important reasons. Yes. And I just would also like to use this opportunity to say, please always look out for how the mainstream media and how the elites try and discredit survivors, whistleblowers, and victims, because Virginia has been treated in the most appalling manner. And this could be my daughter. This could be your daughter, your friend, your niece, your sister. This could be us. And so it is the things I've read, the things I've heard that people have said about Virginia Giuffre is utterly disgusting. And I just pray the people that say this are not parents. And so we know that Virginia's book is out now. We know that her allegations have, without question, put more pressure on the palace to do something. We know that William has been listening. He has been reading the room. And so tonight, I feel confident, as I've always stood in what I've said, that William one day will be a great king. William, if you let me down, I've really put my neck on the line here. But I don't think you will. And like I say, I will hold everyone accountable for their shortcomings and failures. And if I see something, I would always call it out. I'm not aligned with any brand or anyone. Okay, let's go. Elizabeth Besco, Starmer is using this event as deflection of Beep Gang's issues. Well, yes, this is interesting. So I put on X, if you're not following me, it's Lauren KL Farrow. I put on X recently that all of these MPs calling out about Andrew, it's performative, because 364 MPs, I believe that's the figure. Let me just check it, because I'm a stickler for detail. That was the amount of MPs that voted against the grooming gang inquiry, the National Grooming Gang inquiry. So let me just double check this for you now, because this matters, this detail, because it is unbelievably shocking. So, of course, I put it on YouTube, right? I put it on my YouTube timeline, but you'll see it on there. But we had hundreds of MPs actively vote against a national inquiry for grooming gangs. So at the end of the day, the MPs, they want this as deflection. They are, the large majority, all appalling. And you will have seen me. If I don't know if any of you watched Dan Witten tonight, but I did challenge Kane from Reform and asked for a normal answer to a normal question, and I got a politician's answer. And I said, "You're all the same. You all lie. You all," not that he was lying, but he was deflecting. So Starmer will be lapping this all up because he's like, "This has taken the heat off me." But we are now living in a time where we are critically thinking, where we are connecting dots, where we have the internet, we have X, we have YouTube, and we can raise a freedom of information inquiry. We can look for truth tellers, truth seekers. And I hope that if you are, new to my channel, get involved in some of the other content, but I will always bring you the truth. So thank you, Abby. It was great being on Dan's show. I do love being on that show. It is brilliant. And I'm back in court with Tommy Robinson on Tuesday, where I will be with Tommy and I'll be covering it for Dan on the ground. So if anyone is there, then come and say hi. And yeah, remember what the government want is they want us to take our eye off the ball. They want us to get bored. They want us to forget. But no, we will not forget. And so I would say, if you haven't got a copy of Virginia Giuffre's book, I would, on principle, buy it today. Let's get her as high as we can, shifting as many copies as we can. And I never met Virginia Giuffre. I have no incentive to say this apart from the fact that everything I do is rooted in justice for real people and women and children. And so the way that Virginia has been treated, we, the people, must ensure we do not allow the mainstream media, do not allow the likes of Andrew to smear their names, because we know that there have been countless allegations that can't call him that Andy Pandy has smeared or asked people to smear Virginia's name. And so that has to stop. That beep doesn't wash, and we are not having it. So, insiders, this was a lovely impromptu stream. Thank you for joining me. And yes, just so happy that I can continue to bring you the truth. I will always bring you an unfiltered look at what is going on, and I will give you and share as much of my experience as possible within the mainstream media. So yeah, please hit like on this so I can get my YouTube, which is still a baby YouTube. I think I've only been going 7 weeks or so, and I'm nearly at 40,000 subscribers. So truly, thank you all so much, because I have said I will bring you news when I have something to say, and I'm going to help you cut through all of the BS. You're not going to see a membership on my page. You are not going to see me asking you to pay me for my opinion. I'm going to keep bringing you unfiltered truth, because that is what you deserve. I want you to keep your money in your back pocket. I want as many of you to question, do you need a TV license? And I want you to look at people like ITV, who are only airing 19 seconds of someone like Wayne Broadhurst, who was brutally murdered. And I want you to think, if they aren't listening to me, they'll listen to my money. And so look at who advertises with them. And I would just ask you to question and continue to be critical thinkers. So thank you, insiders. And I'll be back when I've got news for you.